Hey guys, this is Thane with Thrive and Peak. Almost lost my notes there. This is Thane with Thrive and Peak. Today I want to talk about something most people overlook, but it affects nearly every human being on Earth, right? A barrier that has separated people for centuries at this point. Centuries, millennia, decades, however you want to distinguish between the time period, but it's a long ass time, essentially is what I'm saying. The language barrier, okay? But what if I told you that there's something stronger than language, right? At Thrive and Peak, we talk a lot about growth, healing, understanding, and building bridges, right? Bridges between who you were and who you're becoming, bridges between pain and your purpose, and ultimately bridges between people, right? So naturally, if we care about bridges, we also have to talk about barriers because inevitably we're going to run into them, correct? And language is one of the biggest barriers that we have as a society and as a race, right? But think about it. If you really think about it, like in its own, if you sit down and genuinely just think about the barrier of language, it's very different nations, different worlds, essentially, different dialects, different ways of communicating. Some people hear someone speak differently and instantly creates distance. Instantly. They say, I don't want to hear that, and whatever it is, especially nowadays, really, in 2026. But there's something deeper than words, and something every single person understands. It's emotion. You may not understand someone's language. You may not understand someone's language, but you'd understand their tears. You understand their laughter. You'd understand their fears. You'd understand someone protecting their child or another loved one. You'd understand the grief of losing a loved one. You'd understand the love because you can relate to it, right? You'd understand the regret of saying something you wish you didn't say, regardless of language, but someone that could hear it, right? Emotion is the language that existed before the words ever did. Before we could put words into or out to like our verbally, we had these emotions inside of us. And I don't think that's brought up enough today. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was exposed to different cultures and different language barriers, right? And you learn quickly that communication is more than vocabulary. Sometimes all you had was body language, facial expressions, tones, energy, urgency. You could tell a lot of things, you know what I mean? But again, like it was because we had those language barriers, you find a way to build bridges and stuff, and not specifically just in the Marine Corps, but sometimes someone's face doesn't tell you everything you need to know sometimes someone's face tells you everything you need to know before they ever said that word, or before they even said the word. Really just depends on the rapport you have with that person and the relationship that you have. Sometimes if you have a best friend, you can just look at their face and know what they're thinking, but that's emotion, right? And because you have that rapport and that type of that muscle memory of their mannerisms and things like that. And I think the world would be better if we just remembered that, or at least acknowledged it. Too many people only listen to words, but wise people listen beneath words. They ask, what pain is this person carrying? What fear is behind that anger? And that happens a lot because that's something I can attest to, really. Like there's lots of anger behind fear, really. And that's like a cornered animal. Like they understand it on their level too within the animal kingdom. They say the most dangerous animal is a cornered one, right? But they're so dangerous because they're fucking scared. They're terrified. You know what I mean? What loneliness is behind that silence? What love is behind that sacrifice? Because if we listen with empathy instead of ego, everything changes. That's what Thrive and Peak is about. Trying to leave the world better than we found it. Helping people grow internally, helping people understand each other, helping people become bridges instead of barriers. Because I really feel like it's a great conversation to be had about trying to relate with someone, especially someone you can't understand. And I've been in a fortunate position to where I've got to live in a country where it wasn't my native tongue. But it was also an interesting way of life, and I learned a lot. And I take it back to, or I bring it to me presently, my past experiences living in another country and stuff like that. But it's just good information to have. It's great. really. And it's just a good way, because you can leave what you didn't prefer and take what you did, and then now people are like, hey, where'd you get that from, and so on and so forth, right? But I say all that to say in closing, so the next time you hear someone you don't understand, before judging their words, feel their humanity, because sometimes people are speaking clearly, but just not in your language. And remember, some of the deepest truths are never spoken at all. This has been Thane. You have been great. And this has been Thriving Peak. I appreciate your time. And I just want to give you guys an update before I leave here. I will be doing these weekly, like 1 per week. I've been doing 2 per week since I started. But in order to make sure I'm providing the best content, I want to make sure I do 1. And then also, I have exciting news. Today, I had verbal confirmation about being able to do this in person. So I'll be doing this in person here shortly, and I'm very excited. There'll be more to follow with that. But yeah, I'll be doing it in person. I'm very excited to be doing that, and giving lectures and just talking with people and just like shaking hands, being able to put eyes to faces, and so on and so forth. Like, the more familiar I get with everyone, the better that'll reflect on here. So yeah, the next time you hear someone not talking a language that you understand, just think about that, okay? Food for thought. I appreciate you. Have a good one.